So in this final example, we have this orthographic view wherein this is the front and this is the side. So in the front, you can see that we have like a box and there are three what looks like windows. But when you look at the side, these three things are actually a volume that's sticking out from this block. So it curves here, then goes straight down, then curves here. So now how do we do this in 1-point perspective? So a while ago, we showed you how to divide a box into equal portions and do that in 1-point perspective. This time, what if you wanted something with divisions that are not the same? So that's also why it's important for you to plan your objects in orthographic so you get exactly the proportions of each segment. I'm going to start this block with horizon line, and I'm going to place my center vanishing point right here. Then I'm going to project this over there, and I'm going to assume that the width of this, let's bring it all the way until here. And then for the side, this is going to be horizontal and this is going to be vertical. So the first challenge is to find out how to establish these divisions in this plane or face. And like what we've been saying about perspective is the more you go towards the horizon line, the shorter distances get. So in perspective, this should be bigger than this. So how do we do that here? What we're going to do is from the bottom corner over here of this entire plane, so this corner is this, we're just going to draw a horizontal line this way. Now you don't want this to be too long. You just need it to be enough so that you can reflect these proportions on this line. So in this case, when I designed this, this is supposed to be like 1, and this is 0.5, 1, and then 0.5, 1, and then 0.5, and 1. So I'm going to have to make this divisions in this line. So what if I'm going to just use the inches for things to be clearer? You can use centimeters if you want, but I'm just going to make this inches or whatever unit you want. This is going to be large so that we can see it in the video. So we have that. This represents these divisions right there. So when you look at this line, what I want you to think is this line actually represents this bottom line here. Okay, so we're just placing this right here. So since this corresponds to this, I'm now going to shoot a line from there over to this point, and then extend it towards the horizon line, and this now becomes our reference point. This is a reference point that we will be using to take these divisions and lightly draw lines connecting them. So since this corresponds to this, then you can see that we've plotted all of these points along the bottom. So that's essentially these. This point, these points, and these points. And now it's these points that we can bring up So now we have these divisions right here. Now you might be wondering, can you place this line starting from this corner? Let's see what happens. I'm now going to place a line right there. 0.5, 1, 0.5, 1, 0.5, and 1. So theoretically, what you need to happen is, if this point represents that point, we need to find a way to make them connect to this line towards the horizontal the horizon line. But from this point, we can't do that. We can only do it from here. So if you make a mistake and you place this line and you can't figure it out, try another corner so that you can do this part. Okay, so I'm just going to erase that. And now we're back to our divisions. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to estimate this, how far this is. So let's say that's until there, and this bottom part is until there. I'm going to go there to the center vanishing point, and now I have my quote-unquote windows where I'm going to be placing our curved volume right there. So in order to do that, we'll just add these. All widths are horizontal. So from these corners, I created these horizontal lines to build our basic box. Now, how far are they going to go? I'm going to estimate this point. Let's say it goes until here. Let's just say it goes until there. So I now build that side of the box. So this is now one side of the box. Corner towards the center vanishing point. Corner towards the center vanishing point. And then you have now this intersection. That's going to help us build the box that we need. So if you're not getting it perfectly vertical, then you can just make adjustments. So now we have our box, which is essentially this. And then we can just do that curve. So I'll square this off. And then from this point, bring it here towards the center vanishing point. This going to the center vanishing point. And now we can curve from here, curve it down. And from this other point, we can curve that down as well. And same thing here, curve it down and curve this down to the other point right there. So I'm now going to darken that. So now you have your first block on our wall and you will do the same process for the next 3. So since all of them are of the same height, I'm just going to take our first box, extend this all the way there, extend this all the way there, and then in the second window, these 4 points, extend them horizontally to build our box. And then you have your intersections right there. We can build that box. So we now have that second box, and then we find this. Where the curve is supposed to be. So we have that. And then we have that curve up top, curve down here, curve here, and curve there. So this is now our second. So in this example, we have these 3 curved blocks that are the same. So you will use the box of the first and use that as a reference for the thickness of this next box, as well as the placement of these other lines. So you'll be doing the same thing for the third. So that's how you divide a space based on your plan, particularly if you have uneven divisions. Now this works really well. Like for example, if you want to do a car, let's say this is the side view and you have a car and you want to do a car in 1 point perspective, then you can use those divisions right here to do this. And once you've done that projection, then you know you can build each section one at a time. Now, all of these processes in this video, you use them depending on the situation you're in. So these are just tools that can help you divide things more equally in, or at least more accurately in 1 point perspective. So you use them as you wish. Okay, there is no like one way is better than the other. You might find a way that's more efficient based on your, once you practice this and you do this a number of times, you'll eventually find a system that works for you, as long as you're still following the rules of 1 point perspective.